everybody, welcome back. Jeff Hopper with Jeff Cranford, the Or series. Have I ever told you what I don't like about tennis?
I would love to. This is going to be good.
Every single game of tennis is played in exactly the same space.
It's true.
Golf is different every day.
Every day.
Even if you play the same course, a tree may have fallen over since the last time you played. The tees are moved up, the flag's on the other side of the hole. And then the beauty of it is you get to play somewhere else entirely. But if I live in a local area, I've got some choices. One of the choices I have, say, is a private club.
Yes.
I might join a private club, or I might just pay as I go, daily fee. Do you have a recommendation in that?
Well, I think most people would say, man, if I had the choice, I'd love to be at a private club. I mean, there's a lot of things. But again, this gets back to our first part of this series, which is if I'm seeing this as a platform, and I'm a follower of Jesus, and this is a place where I can engage fallen humanity, right? What would I choose? Well, I think it depends. Again, you say one's better than the other. A couple of positives for the private club. Private club, obviously, you get to know people and you have longevity of relationship. It's not kind of a hit and miss thing where you just kind of join up with a group that you may not know or something like that. And so you get an opportunity. You have an opportunity to begin to be able to invest in somebody's life, because you know how it is. You hear something, you hear the gospel and you kind of reject it, but over time, a lot of times you hear it and you hear it and you hear it, and then the 5th, 6th, 10th, 20th time you hear it, it makes sense, and that's important. Plus, I think at a private club, there's also there are certain walls that come down. You know, there's certain things, well, I'm a member at this club and you're a member at that club, and you're able to walk through, and all of a sudden you have a relationship just because some walls have come down, just because you have this similar thing that's going on. And so you don't have all these walls that are up if you meet somebody at a public club. Now, the beauty of the public club, the public course, without any question, is that you just have the opportunity. You never know who you're going to get to be paired with. You can, all walks of life, all kinds of things. And it's kind of nice, too, that if you get sick and you can't play for a couple of months, you don't have to pay those dues.
You don't have to pay the dues.
To pay those dues.
Yeah, and I know some people who don't want to join one club because they like
to jump around.
Clubs.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, in my town where I live, which isn't a town, it's a city of more than 500,000, there are a lot of churches. In fact, I live on one of two parallel streets that are kind of both called Church Row.
Right.
I could go to this church, that church.
Right.
How do I know which one to go to?
Well, I really can't get up on a soapbox on this, because I think, again, this kind of goes back to our Western culture. There's a tendency in which we think, well, we're just going to go out and church shop. So we'll see, well, they have a youth program, they have this and that, and we suit our own needs. Look, I'm not completely against that, but I think that should only be after there's a season of prayers like, Lord, where do you want me? Where can I function most in my gift? Now, again, this gets back to, if I'm early in my walk, I have no problem with kind of church shopping. Or if I have a young family and I really am concerned about my kids and I want my kids planted in a good youth program, look, I get all those things and those concerns. But at the core of it, shouldn't it always be, Lord, where have you established me? Where have you chosen? And imagine this, before the foundations of the earth. Back to that Ephesians 2. He's given us certain things, certain pathways to walk in. And so if he's given me a calling, how can I have a calling and yet not have any specificity about who I'm going to walk that calling out with? And so there's a sense of loyalty that happens once I know that God's called me to this particular group of people, because my stewardship is dependent upon who I partner with. And look, I'll be affected if I just go to a church because I may like the preaching, or if I just go to a church because I like one of the programs, or maybe just because they're closer to my house. I may be sabotaging my own calling, because if I ask the Lord, where do you want me planted, and I'm not walking out with a group that needs me, or that needs my calling, or is even invested in mission in the community, I'll be compromised. And so I feel pretty passionately about this church or that. Well, Lord, where are you calling me?
This is important because you went back over the things I didn't hear you say. I go where the teaching resonates with me. Mm-hmm. I go where they play my style of music. I go where the people look like me. I go where it's close to home. I go where God has put me because he intends to use me there.
Well, I think that's question number one. Now, like I said, there's nothing wrong at all. Chances are God will put you in a place that you've kind of been built for, a similar demographic, a similar, probably, not always, but probably. There's nothing wrong with desiring to have good teaching or desiring to have worship that really inspires you and moves you into worship. But again, I think all those things should take second place to where I go. And it's the same way with the golf course. All those things should take second place to, Lord, where do you want to use me? And if he says, I want to use you at the public course because that's where I want you every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock on a pickup game, because I'm going to bring people into your life, and you're perfectly prepared in this season of your life to do that, as opposed to just playing with the same 4 guys you do at your private club, well, then you're listening to the voice of the Lord above what you should or shouldn't do. You're just, Jesus said it well, my sheep hear my voice, and they follow me. So
I think we better take a minute to touch on one other thing, and that is that we definitely want to find a church where Jesus is proclaimed.
Well, no question about that. I mean, that's number one, right? That's number one.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you, and we'll be with you again about a week from now.